14.
14.
Correct, right? Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Another fantastic day. So, where did we leave off yesterday?
Well, we're talking about a lot of different things yesterday. We found that there's a city in Colorado, uncovered city on Colorado with modern technology.
Right.
And then there was another city that was also found in Guatemala, in the Amazon. And what was interesting about that particular city, it was that the pyramids and artifacts that was there, because Guatemala is South America,
Right.
but pyramids is something that we deal with in reference to Africans in America, or Africans in Africa and Egypt. We built the pyramids.
Right.
So it was just found it very interesting to have pyramids in Guatemala in the Amazon.
So that speaking of pyramids and alien gods, right? We were watching that joint on Black Magic. Did we talk about that yet? With
Not
19 Keys,
Not in depth.
Loaded Lux.
Yeah, but that was a real good conversation. That was a real good
Shouts out
conversation.
to Loaded Lux, man, for his build, man.
Right.
I thought it was incredible, man. It was a great conversation.
Loaded Lux build on many levels, because identifying the God factor, because 19 Keys is breaking down, like, the connection that we have with God, or the God factor,
Right.
How you're able to connect to that, and his breakdown was about discipline, habitual practice, and so forth. And
Is
then
that him or the other one after him? I think that might have been the guy after him. This whole thing was discipline and having the
I
habits.
think they both touched
Yeah,
that
okay.
discipline and habitual, but the other guy, he went into
So I said that what, Black Magic 363 or something like that.
Right.
I don't remember the numbers, but
Yeah.
y'all know he got an incredible following. He
Right.
just another post went up on his channel like a couple days ago, another 30,000 views. So
Right.
I think people are familiar with him.
right, because to separate 19 Keys and the other brother, was it Cameron something? The
Cam something, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, the other brother is that the 19 Keys was talking about how
19 Keys, right?
19 Keys was talking about how after the discipline and habitual behavior, he was talking about how you can tap into your God factor, if you speak well, and then the other person could tap into theirs if they're able to grow crops well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And by honing in on that
Your particular skill.
particular skill,
Right.
be able to
Your
tap.
gift, I guess, right?
Right, because everybody has it.
Right.
And then so that was a different. But the other guy, Cameron, he went into like a whole build after the discipline and habitual behavior, and these different exercises that you do. You know what I mean? Like you kind of strain yourself once it gets easy, because it's like a muscle. But
Yeah.
but it's like more as a spiritual muscle connecting to that God factor. So it was really dope. But what I liked about the conversation is when they took it to Lux. It's like, yo, how do you connect? How do you connect to your God factor when dealing with battle rap? Like,
Right.
how do you do that? And Lux was like, discipline and habitual behavior again. But his muscle that he exercise a lot is discovery.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah, they said it's a circle of discovery and
the
other one.
said discovery and something else, but those are his two main things that he actually exercised all the time in order to get into that God factor. And then how preparing for the Calico battle, how he was discovering new things. And a lot of times it happens when in his sleep, but then and then he perfects it when he wakes up. He said it happened right in while his eyes was open. You know what I mean? And I like that onto a time where because Dr. Yoga always talk about that. We're able to tap into our that our God factor. And we do it all the time, to the point when somebody's about you. You're thinking about somebody and they call, and that's mental telepathy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That mental telepathy is a part of our,
Higher senses.
these higher senses that we had at readily available to us once upon a time. Readily available to us once upon a time, which was, psychometry, mental telepathy, intuition, and a couple clairvoyance, and a couple of others. You know what I mean? And these abilities, we only scratch the surface on them. But it's a situation where in tapping those abilities, that's also part of the God factor. And I really enjoyed how Loaded Lux broke it down. You know what I mean? Like he had a real clear breakdown to it where you could like, damn, I could do it too. Because
what I like too, also he said whatever excites you is probably what you should be doing all the time.
That's what you chase.
Yeah, that's what you should be chasing. Whatever excites you. Yeah, exactly. So I thought that was dope. And look, this guy just throw that on the ground, like littering and stuff like that. But that's another conversation because people won't even understand what we're talking about, where we are. But yeah, yeah, man, I thought that was powerful breakdown. And but I think it's different. I think we all got. I think it is part of the gifts, but I think the five high senses is different than tapping into your maybe because we have gifts passed down to us, genetics. Like it might be, what I'm saying, like obviously if your father was an architect and you start into that process,
right.
chances are you're gonna pick up on it. You might pick up on it a lot quicker. But what I liked is about what I've been learning lately is that you can learn to be good at anything. You can become better at anything. You follow what I'm talking about?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you apply yourself to it. So yeah, man. So like and what I just want to bring that up because I've come across a lot of gifted rappers in my life that never made it to the industry, and didn't and wasn't around long enough to enter into the battle rap space because all of the people that was lyrically talented, from that previous generation, it could have definitely found a home in battle rap. Because,
Right.
So we talked about Moon, right?
Right.
His name, older brother, nice. You can tell he's older. He comes from a previous generation, but he's actually able to have, I think, a different type of life within battle rap. I don't think the ageism exists.
No,
like it exists in normal hip hop culture or normal record deal, record label hip hop culture and sports. And I know now it's a little bit different because you can kind of just tap into whatever you want to tap into. You know what I'm saying? If you want to listen to somebody, whoever you want to listen to, you could kind of really just directly have access to that. But we know it's still like if you're looking for like major budgets and stuff, people definitely still like, they still kind of looking at ages and things like that. And I don't think battle rap takes that into consideration too much. You know what I'm saying? You look at Swave 7, he's an older guy. He's definitely from, because he was rocking with Pumpkinhead. Them guys definitely from the generation. Like I said, I seen Pumpkinhead the first time I seen Pumpkinhead. Did I ever tell you who he was performing with?
No.
At a spot called Downtown on 30th Street. $500,000.
Wow.
That's the first time I seen him. That had to be like 98, maybe 99. Maybe, I think it had to be earlier than that. It might have been 97. And the reason I'm thinking it's 96, 97 is because when that Some Niggas Blood joint, some niggas song, I think it was called, it was on one of those soundtracks. It was $500,000, some niggas blood and some niggas crit, some niggas thug and some niggas this, you know what I mean? Whatever, I forgot the name of this, how the song went exactly, but it was a banger, man. Rest in peace, $500,000.
He battled with us.
Yeah, he definitely did. But that's the first time I seen them. So that generation, my point is a lot of them didn't, stay on long enough because I guess if they would have kind of kept on a little bit to what, 05, 06, that's when battle rap became a platform for other people to be able to kind of tap in. You know what I'm saying? Or for those people to come and make that transition. You know what I mean? But the point is that becoming what's it called? Your gift, right? A lot of people that was naturally gifted in rapping, I noticed weren't the people that actually made it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Actually, the ones that had a mindset, certain mindset, and a work ethic, because it's not just the work ethic. Because remember I was telling you about, I don't want to say his name, but we were talking about one rapper that we were talking about Black Thought, right? And how he could rap, he could go too, you know what I'm saying, for a minute. So I likened him to, I don't want to say to who, one of my friends, right? But so he had raps, rhymes for days, songs, and everything, but the mindset wasn't there.
All right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Which is the business ethic or the discipline.
Yeah, that too, and also it's this. I think when you start talking about mindset, is now starting, knowing that you can be successful in the space, having a personality that's that people would gravitate to work with you.
When it comes to like rap,
because it's the law of attraction.
Right.
Again, so when it comes to mindset, is if you don't have the mindset that you can be successful, not just talking it, but it actually, being something constantly going over in your mind. Because remember, we think almost 50,000 thoughts in a day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
If not more.
And literally, I think like 2/3 of them joints are negative for the average person.
Right.
That's not consciously, working on their thoughts. Like, saying like, yo, I'm going to, think what you're going to think. Basically, you telling your mind.
Right.
You're going to think what I want you to think. I'm not going to think that, oh, I can't do this or this, and that. So you might rap good. You might carry a certain persona, but then in your head, your mindset is not switched on to where you know you could be, that you can be successful. You gravitate, and then again, that's that law of attraction. Because again, if you got an attitude where you're pushing people away, people can't work with you. You follow what I'm talking about? How are you going to build up a team?
Right.
Producer, studio,
right.
I'm talking about, manager, publicist.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
So I think it was more than just, to me, it's definitely more than work ethic, because I know cats that could that could rhyme for days. They still not that far. Mm-hmm. I know cats that can that wrote rhymes for days. They got songs for days.
Right.
They still not that far. You follow what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So it's also the mindset. You follow what I'm talking
about? Well, that's what I said the mindset. When it comes to the mindset, you have to identify, like Kobe Bryant. When Kobe Bryant was breaking down, rest in peace, he was breaking down how all he knew was he had to be great. So for every time he practiced, for a good portion of his life, from the time he woke up, Kobe Bryant was practicing all types of moves to be great. So when it comes to like so like, when it comes to, which is attributed to the mindset, because Kobe's mind was all the way there. What is it called? Tupac. His mind was all the way there, where he never left the studio. Biggie, he kept his raps on tight, and he kept everybody's raps tight, to the point where he wrote it for them.
Right.
So it's like his mindset was like, yo, look, everybody gonna sound good. I know I sound good, but I'm making sure everybody sound good because I'm writing it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kobe gave Shaq a hard way to go, because like, yo, look, if we're gonna be on a team together, you're gonna have to practice as good as me. If you want me to give you an assist, and I'm expecting an assist, so you need to be out here practicing. There ain't no late practices or whatever. So a lot of that beef that happened between Shaq and Kobe is because Kobe was always on 10, or if not 100, with his mindset. So when it comes to the battle rap, a person like a Loaded Lux, which is like a wordsmith, and you have someone like a Daylight, they're saying that the battle took place because people acknowledge the caliber of skills, the skill set that it takes in order to be able to put those words together. So all I can say is that the mindset is definitely there, and that's on all walks of life. On anything you do, if you have the proper mindset to sacrifice, to change environments, to make sure the people around you are A1. You follow what I'm saying? To make sure that you're not being mentally polluted or manipulated. You follow what I'm saying? Like these because some people will settle, and they don't mind getting mentally manipulated. They don't mind having the wrong people around them. Like I remember coming up, it's like I went through different sets of crews or what have you. The first sets of crews the first set I was with was like, kids like elementary, kindergarten, you know what I mean, to a certain grade. But these guys would be the ones that always crack on me. So I would always leave the neighborhood. I go to the corner, kick it for a minute, and then I'll leave the neighborhood and go somewhere else. I'll go to Martins. You know what I'm saying? I used to always find myself being on Martins on Church Avenue all the time because those guys over there, that's why I slap boxed. We slap boxing over there. So in slap boxing over there, not saying we in slap boxing my first block, but when over there, I didn't get teased a lot. So it was like, and then from traveling, once I started traveling, I would find myself going to King's Plaza. You meet kids from school. It's just like the environment. Each environment was different, and the environment that you felt like you was more accepted. That's the environment that you was in. And it's the same thing when I traveled to Boston. When I got to Boston, it wasn't more so about criminal activities. It was criminal activities, but it was more so like paper. Credit cards. It was more so like white collar, you know what I mean? And cats wanted to see how smart you are. What do you know? How can we get over? You follow what I'm saying? And then, and it's just, my point is, you want to be around people that's going to either push you forward mentally, or you're going to stay around people, you're just going to settle, stay around people that's not going to push you nowhere. And usually those are the guys that got locked up.
Right.
You know what I mean? He was in the car. There was drugs there or guns there, and usually the good guy. Because everybody put it on him. It was his, and then what I mean, because he's a good guy, he think he's gonna hold him down while he's locked up, which never happens. You know what I'm saying? And he ends up taking the rap for it, whatever the case is, and it's a mindset. And I think mindsets should be something that is taught. By your parents,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like that should be a part of the conversation. Like birds and bees, mindset should be right before birds and bees,
right?
Because having the proper mindset, you don't know, like, okay, I'm just not gonna have sex with her without a condom just because of the emotion, or I'm not just gonna have sex with him without a condom because he done talked me into it. Oh, come on, he got me to kiss him, so now we kissing. Now the temperature done rose, and then now he want to hit, right. And now he's trying to talk me into having sex without a condom. That mindset should be there. Like every cause has an effect.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, definitely mindset is definitely number one.
No, that's a fact. You have me thinking about when you talk about your environment. Shouts out to Adolf the Assassin. Remember him?
Yeah,
Uptown Girl. That's the name of the song, the hit he had, right? But he also produced for Disaster Strikes, Busta Rhymes album. Mm-hmm. You know that? Yeah, he had produced on there. He had production credits for days. He produced a lot of beats for what's your name? Sean Price. You remember he was managing Sean? I think he was managing Sean Price at some point too.
Rest in peace.
But he definitely rest in peace. And now he goes by the name of Aguilar the Don.
Okay.
I remember I met him at what's that? Rocksteady. The Rocksteady, the Rocksteady reunion they do on the West Side Highway at the time. I think it was like Chelsea Piers or something. Huge concert. I met Black Thought there. That's why I talk about that Black Thought situation. And I'll never forget when I came back to kind of connect with him and build with him, because he wanted to work with me because he thought I was talented. He was like, "Yo, get the fuck out of Jersey City." That's what he kept telling, because he was in Jersey City for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. At the time, Adolf the Assassin. I think he's from Brooklyn. Yeah, so I just remember him telling me that. And I was like, damn, and I already was kind of on that theory. Going to New York all the time, even though Jersey City is only 5 minutes from New York, saying people, believe it or not, people don't like they might go buy clothes, they might even go buy trees or whatever there, they might re-up or whatever, but a lot of times, people not leave their neighborhood, just like somebody from Brooklyn might never go to Harlem.
I mean, if I go to Cortellia right now in Rogers Avenue, on the corner of Cortellia and Rogers Avenue, at the bodega, I know I'm gonna see some cats that's been there.
Crazy.
From the time when I left.
Crazy.
I guess this is what it is. Or, or you go to, you just find these guys is there, like that they never left, whether it's the basketball court or the bodega. You know what I'm saying? This is what it is, and it's not a great thing because your whole life passed by, and all the neighborhood stories, all the jailhouse stories, but that's all you know what I'm saying. At some point it's valuable because if a tourist comes through, you're able to tell the tourist everything to the T,
right,
better than GPS or better than Google.
right.
But
Back.
when it comes down to your children, when it comes down to you try to travel, so I know that's instilled in them. Like, okay, there's something out there more than just being put. Whereas my nephew, my brother, he's more so put. He's like, job, come home, which is great. Not saying these things are bad, but he does travel on weekends and go to certain places. And I'm just saying these things are needed. The children need to see that. They need to be exposed by that because there's so much out here. With traveling, you see so much. You network. What they say? Your
network is your net worth.
Exactly. Facts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So he was saying. So again, I was already starting to get out of Jersey or whatever, but that stood with me because it was like, all right, you got to put yourself around people that are doing something.
Facts.
Follow what I'm talking about? And then shouts out to him because he has had a good career, like even to the point that he was on the Drink Champs with what was your man name? Nature.
Okay.
Yeah. You remember that Nature interview?
Right.
It was him and Nature there. So I thought that was pretty dope. And the only person to probably freestyle on what's it called?
On Drink Champs.
On Drink Champs. But yeah, man. So like, it is about, because I think they say that you are, you're a derivative of like the 5 people you're around most. So your bank account is going to be within like, I think like $5,000 to $10,000 of the people that you are around most. You follow what I'm talking about? So, it's definitely about getting around different people, definitely about challenging yourself.
Right.
And it's definitely about learning something, and you're learning and applying, because it's one thing to learn it, it's another thing to immediately put it into motion. I remember hearing Will Smith say something about that. He reads and runs. You know what I'm saying? So he read it, boom, puts it in and then he runs with it. You know what I mean? Like, so, it's whatever he immediately learns, he immediately puts it into motion. And I do my best to do the same thing, and I implore, everybody else for us to, continue to do that so that we could, reach our fullest potential, man. But yeah, man, shouts out to Black Magic, and that Alien Gods with a Z.
I love that.
You guys could Google that and check that out if y'all want to tap into that YouTube that we're talking about, man, because there was a lot of jewels in there.
Yeah. A lot to unpack.
And that's what I love about battle rap, because that's or even MCing, because before it was concerned, because to me as an MC, that's what exposed me to most of the beneficial things in my life. Like, for instance, when I was aspiring to be, a MC with a deal or a rapper that, with bread behind them or whatever, I seen a white guy, right? Shouts out to Chris Murphy, wearing a Rough Riders t-shirt downstairs from where I live. So I'm like, you know what? This, you know what I'm saying? He got to be in the business, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Happened to be tapped in with him. Though yes, he was doing PR and stuff like that, he also was working on Wall Street, and was a stockbroker within the firm. And immediately, within like, I think a week, 2 weeks, I'm working at the firm. You know what I'm talking about? Yo, you remember when I fell through the steps at the
house? Yeah.
We had a property we was renovating, and it wasn't even that bad, but we was renovating in Jersey City, because we fix and flip properties too or whatever, right? Shouts out to Goods, because he was talking about that. And our strategy now is buy and hold, even though we got a few that we have to flip because we have partners on those projects. So basically those have to be sold, but some of the new ones that we're looking to acquire now, we want to, keep, right? So now, so the brother, remember Rodimus, the brother that was the Puerto Rican dude that was making fun of me because I fell through the steps or whatever. he was working there. He was like, yo, you got him, yo. He said, yo, he's got, because, yo, Cash was, cash $100,000 checks. It's like, yo, you got to learn this stuff. But, so my point is that, you know what I'm saying, MCing, that's the beauty about, because to me, at that time, listen, I discovered, Dr. York. I discovered knowledge of self, you know what I'm saying? I discovered, I got into financial literacy. Like, that was the beginning of my financial literacy. Learning was, because of that network.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So much came from MCing, so that's why, I think it's important that, we are able to touch and talk on all these different topics. So it was because I'm like, okay, I wanted to teach. I didn't want to be a teacher. I couldn't see myself being, inside of a class, 300, whatever amount of days out of the year for me to be able to get messages through.
Right.
So yeah, man. So shouts out to the art.
I mean, I feel because like teaching is a thing that has to be done. I mean, every day we learn it. Somehow or the other we learn. Like I learn a lot from, because I keep saying that battle rap is for smart people, man. Not being intelligent it's not possible.
Right.
The only, you know what I mean? Battle rap is for intelligent. Period. So it's like, so it's a situation where the art itself is designed that way. You know what I mean? You have to go out there, do your homework. You have to go out there, put your play together.
That's a
you
fact.
gotta go out there. So
and before the homework was dissing somebody, right? Or going into their dirty laundry and finding out, and then putting schemes together. Before that, for me, it was definitely about coming with the most profound thing that you could say. You know what I'm saying? So of course, you had street niggas that was gonna come with, you know what I'm saying, they experienced too. You know what I'm saying? But then you also had people that was, coming from different angles. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe, if you're a Christian coming from a Christian family, you're a street nigga, you might not understand or know the perspective coming from somebody from the Nation of Islam, or even the 5% Nation. You know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of people from where I'm from that wasn't tapped into that stuff.
Right.
So when you put that into your rhymes, you start, bringing that aspect and that perspective in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You having cats like, you know what I mean? Bro, that's what it was about, bro. It was about getting people to be like, you know what I mean? Like really getting you to think, you know what I'm talking about? Either feel them, you want to feel the person, understand what they go through, you want to learn from their experience, you know what I'm saying? Or you want to learn something new that you can apply, and that's what it was about, you know what I'm saying? And to me, even in battle rap, even though, I'm not going to say I'm there, it's there, but we need to continue to cultivate that aspect of it, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I mean, because you got individuals like Loaded Lux, you got cats like Daylight, you know what I mean?
B-Dot,
you got, what is it called? Goods.
Even Loso, even though it's coming from a Christian perspective.
Right.
I'm just saying, meaning, because that's, when I say that, it's because the Christian perspective been around for it's been dominant for a long time.
2,000 years.
You know what I'm saying? So, but the fact that he's able to come into this forum and platform and be able to get his perspective off through that is different, because nobody else was doing that at first. You know what I'm saying?
Your man tried
in battle rap.
Yeah. What's his name?
Lord Lux.
No.
Okay, he was doing this.
Nah, yeah, but he didn't do it first.
Serious Jones.
Serious Jones Serious Jones Fight Club. Serious Jones was doing that. Yeah, but my point is,
where's the Christianity?
He didn't, not Christianity. He tried to come through with the kufi on as a Muslim.
Who? Serious Jones?
Yeah, after he came out of jail.
When?
From when he was in Florida or the West Coast, he came back with the kufi on King of the Dot.
Yo, let me tell you something. With that kufi, just because you wearing that kufi, do not mean you're Muslim. You know why? Oh, he is. No, he was always Muslim.
Yeah, he was. But I'm just saying, he tried to come through with that.
Shouts out to dude, because remember when I first met him in Hoboken with through Nielsen. He was then. It was. I mean, like Like for real, for real.
Right.
Like nah, for real. Like his father, like they really, you know what I'm saying? Like Sunnis.
Right, okay,
If I'm
Sunnis,
correct.
okay,
Yeah, like
okay.
nah. He might not have rapped about it.
Right.
But that's, come on, how long ago that was like 07 type, right?
Nah,
07.
that just happened
No,
now.
I'm talking about when I met him.
Okay, yeah.
That's like 06, 07. That he was always about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? As a Muslim. So that's always been his perspective, but probably, you know, obviously bringing it out. But when you mentioned the Kufi, I was like, yo, the Kufi don't mean necessarily mean, because remember when your man, what's your man, Main Ridge Construction? Shouts out to my man from Main Ridge
Sean.
Construction. I forget his name, man. He do the windows
Steve.
now. Steve. Shouts out to my man Steve, if you ever watched this. I remember I saw it with the Kufi on, and I was like, yo, Assalamu alaikum. Dude looked at me like,
I'm just keeping my head warm.
I don't even know what, it was just different, man. It was just, yo, that's Atlanta '04 though. Atlanta '04 was different, you know what I'm talking about? But yo, he definitely looked at me like, yo, it's different. But yeah, man, so, but yeah, shouts out Sirius Jones. Shouts out, yeah, Loso, like you were saying, Daylight, you mentioned Loaded Lux, I mentioned B-Dot. And there's others. Let's keep pushing for that.
It's an intellectual sport, man. Battle rap is for smart people, man.
Period.
Don't let them don't let them try to make it seem like battle rap.
But rapping, I mean, rapping always, to me, was about it. And then
they dumbed it down.
Yeah, they definitely dumbed it down.
The moment you took it from a Nas space, where it's like, you know, an intellectual space, and,
right.
and you Rakim space, Karis One space, and I can understand fun rap, summertime. Right. I understand,
but it
fun
was
rap.
still like it was a story.
That
to me, that's almost like a story.
I could understand Das Effects fight. See,
remember where are they now? When Hip Hop Is Dead album, and Nas came back with them on the we was in your Chrysler 300 back when we had the 300 that time listening to. You don't remember when Das Effects came on that joint? I mean, now it's been some time.
I don't remember.
They still, what? This was like 06. They still was sounding fire,
my point is, even that type of rap, they could have said that's mumble rap, but they made that mumble rap make you think about what they were saying. You know what I mean? Like, they made you actually think about however they put it together, because it takes a little.
It was creative.
Come on, man.
Nah,
that's like Fushnikins. The dude that was rapping.
Creative, man.
My point. You can't take what these guys are doing right now and say, okay, that's accepted because we had our time. Yeah. We had fun with it, so they had their time.
Nah, because if you just you don't remember when Greg Street played this Future in the studio? You don't remember when he was playing that joint?
Future?
Yeah.
Back then.
You remember when he was like, yo, I got the exclusive Future in the studio, and he playing
Yo, for real, I can understand. Listen, right?
But
no disrespect, right?
So my point is, the reason I bring that up is because just because, like, going and drugged up and then just saying anything, you know what I mean? You know, and, you know, I think Jay-Z tried to tell people, like, yo, everybody shouldn't go in there and freestyle their stuff. Even Cameron said it. Cameron talked about, he's like, yo, Jay-Z, when we talked about, you know, when I pan left to right, you know what I'm saying? The man is something, the check, the hand that don't write, whatever, right?
Right.
Man that write checks, the hand that don't write, something like that. Either way, y'all know the song, the New York song. We know your man freestyled that joint, right? What's the point? The point is, he said everybody shouldn't freestyle. What did Cam say? Cam said the same thing. He said, I ain't trying to freestyle that joint. You know what I'm talking about? He said, I write. You know what I mean? He didn't say from that point, I started freestyling everything. Nah, he kept writing. You know what I mean? So it's not for everybody, you know what I mean? So, you know, and freestyle is like it don't have that what's that depth. You know, that's the difference between something written and something freestyle. 9 times out of 10 of freestyle don't have that depth. Now the difference between Jay-Z over years, I think he was able to put depth into his freestyle because one, he's thinking about his bars before, because, you know, that's how we used to do it. You know, you think about your bars, you at least, I don't know, maybe everybody does it different, but you at least map out 2 to 3. If not, you at least map out 2 to 4 bars to start yourself off when it's your turn. You mapping that out in your mind. So it's not like, you know, and then from there, and that's how I would do it. Then from there, whatever would come from that, then I would try to just keep it flowing. But I would try to get them 4 bars mapped out. when you mapping those 4 bars out, or 8 or 16, where Jay-Z's able to map 16 out,
right?
You know what I'm saying? You know, perfectly, right? That's a certain level of depth he's putting into the thought. He not punching in. That's another thing. Jay-Z not, you know, some dropping 4 bars and then punch me in. He ain't doing that. So he mapping the whole 16 out in his head. So he is putting some thought into it. And then he's dropping it. So for these guys that just go in there and just say anything, you know what I'm talking about? You know, and think about it. The say anything stuff used to get the crowd going.
Right.
You know, like if you out on the street, you on the corner, it would get the crowd going.
Right.
But we good, I think, you know what I'm saying? We can tap back tomorrow.
No, we good. But I wanted to definitely talk about. I definitely want to talk about what is it? The latest in the news right now. With China Mac talking about.
Talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, but you know, right now he's really. I don't think he want to leave the topic alone. In reference to the fact that you know he's saying if you're not about that, he
said it was okay for Vlad.
Yeah,
and Adam 22 is okay for them to interview Troy Ave because they're not from the streets.
Yeah, but he's not about that
murder case
right.
going on.
Yeah, but see, that he was identifying that, and I wanted to talk about what that is. What is that?
What is that? What do you mean?
I mean, because he kept on saying, man, like if you made meaning Matt Hoffa,
I almost want to say he was insinuating that they all gang members. That's what I was.
So that's what that is.
That's what I was getting.
Because
he said street. No. He said
I met
he said
Matt Hoffa in the streets.
He said streets. He did say that is you know, he from the streets, so he should know better. Or
but what is that?
But I think he's also insinuating that they what's it called? What's the word for it? Street. Yeah, they also gang members. I think that's what he was insinuating.
I mean, but see, that's the point I'm saying, because that is not necessary. That's why I wanted to touch on it, because that is not. That's like they. Who's they?
But what do you mean that though? I still don't understand.
Because that's what he's saying. Like, if you're not about that, and then you know you. But for me,
he defined that. He said that was being from the streets. I met him from the streets. He's from the streets. He's a street person. He was punching people in the face. He went on to even explain that in detail. So that was being from the streets.
I don't think that's what that was.
But that's what he was saying it was.
Okay.
And I also thought he was also insinuating that Math is a gang member and he's a gang member. That I don't know though. Again, I don't know. Y'all can comment, you know, like, share, whatever, but let us know. But I don't know if they both gang members. But it felt like he was insinuating not only is he somebody from the streets, but he's also a gang member. But I don't think he wanted to say that. But that's what it felt like.
Well, I could leave it right there because what I wanted to express is that, you know, that is that behavior that everybody catch on, that you have to personify this undescribed, this behavior that don't have no title. And once you prescribe to this particular behavior, it's the unsaid. You're a part of it, and that's really convoluted. It's like it's really everywhere, because if you're not in the gang, and if you're not he said if you're not a square, if you're a square, you prescribe to how you're civilian, you're a square.
Right.
But once
that's the word that made me think that he was talking about gangs, because he said civilian.
So the moment you prescribe to this particular behavior, then now this particular behavior is
rules that exist.
Yeah, there's rules that exist within this behavior.
Right.
And I wanted to point out that particular thought process is the thought process that got us messed up, because there shouldn't be no unidentified thing where, because of your behavior, if you have bad behavior, it's bad behavior. It's called bad behavior. If you out here causing havoc, criminal activities, it's criminal activities.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you out here hurting people, killing people, you out here hurting people, killing people. Right. And if that's what you prescribe to, and there's a group that deals with that, then call it that. Don't make it like a gray area, and you know, and then there's just this area, whatever you do, that's what that is. Because that's corny. Because why is it corny? Because you have these kids that's doing anything, right? What they're doing, they're cutting people in the face, what they'll do, they'll stab or shoot, because now that's a part of this place where I'm able to do these certain things to be what? Accepted. And then now once I'm accepted from cutting somebody in the face or shooting somebody, I'm cool. You follow what I'm saying? Or go to the lunchroom, take somebody's food, or go in the bathroom, pee on somebody while you're on the pee. This what I grew up. I used to see these things happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's whack.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you shouldn't have to. One, you shouldn't have to go through that, and two, you shouldn't have to do that to be accepted.
Right.
So I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. All I can say is that
I guess I'll be considered a square.
I agree, because at the end of the day, right now, you're no longer on the streets. Both of y'all are bloggers on YouTube. Therefore, that's why we talked about this before. The moment and the fact that, oh, thank you, where'd you see it? Oh, you're the man. The moment and the fact that you are in this space of entertainment, I mean, that's what I was saying, man. Like, how do you not interview Troy Ave? Like, you follow what I'm talking about? Like, how do you not do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? And then coming from the space where Matt Harper comes from, I think gives him an advantage to actually get that interview and to get more people wanting to tap in to listen to it. Now, my thing is, if I was Troy Ave, I wouldn't have did it. You know, but I don't know. His attorneys, you know, he might be good. Like, I don't know the scenario. From the scenario, you know, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be 100, because I don't know. Like, I'm not, you know, whatever. Like, you call me a square, I am a square, right? So now, look, the way that it's framed right now is that, you know what I'm saying, it's self-defense. So he's so confident in his situation that whatever he did, what took place with him is self-defense.
Right.
Now, I guess for the gang world, I guess they like, oh, even though, you know, I guess it's bad for Tax Stone, maybe. You know what I'm talking about? Like, this could be furthering, this could be bad. It might be not necessarily bad for Troy Ave, because the murder case, I don't think is Troy Ave still charged for murder for this?
I don't know.
I don't even know either, man. But I know, we know Tax Stone is, right?
Right.
Okay, so it might be more bad for Tax Stone than, because this would be like almost public diplomacy. This is almost like convincing people, you know what I'm saying, that, you know, this guy was the aggressor and I was, you know what I'm saying? So, damn, I didn't even think about that. So now, you know, so I just started to think about it in my head that really Troy Ave, he's so confident in his position that he like, yo, I'm gonna go interview wherever I want to interview, because where I was protecting myself, I grabbed the gun, because that's the story, right? Mm-hmm. He grabbed the gun, right? That's the story,
they tussled for the gun.
He grabbed a gun, and that's when he started shooting.
Yeah.
My man, listen, I mean, if that's the case, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so I don't know, man. All I can say is that, you know, right now we're in the entertainment business. We're in the business of blogging and creating content. But like we talked about yesterday, unfortunately, you are going to see people dying online. You know, people doing whatever it takes. They're not going to, at some point, people are not going to care.
Yeah, but I think this space right here,
right,
we have a responsibility.
Oh, we do.
Because the moment you have in this particular space right here,
Which space?
blogging, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's a fact.
Because like, you know, because see what happens is with battle rap,
right?
You know, you also have responsibility to make sure you're out with that man and show that you're the most intellectual superior within your craft. That's your responsibility. With MC War, we're gonna push the envelope and start taking care of the community and changing the environment by way of battle rap. But when it comes to, you know, blogging, being a vlogger, you know what I mean, a personality, an influencer, you know, our responsibility is to put things in proper perspective, man. It's to set the record straight. It's to set the tone. It's to identify what's a fact and what's a not fact. What's corny and what's not corny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you out here doing reckless behavior, that's corny.
Right.
If you out here pulling your gun, cutting people's faces, doing, you know what I mean? Yo, Dr. York taught us, semen. What's wrong is hype, is dope, and what's correct is corny, is whack. And that's a spell that was casted on us to make us feel a certain type of way. So it's cool to go out here and create a home invasion right? And go back to the hood and say how you tied these people up and you took what what was theirs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's corny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
But I don't think a lot of people are doing. I don't think that a lot of people are doing it for the purpose of saying that they did it. I mean, some might, and then there's some scenarios where people,
you don't think they were like the Biggie song? I got a story to tell.
I think yeah, but I mean, I think yeah, but you remember that in that situation, he was trying to save his life.
No, I'm saying
Okay.
that particular song that broke it down like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? He lumped her up, tied him up like it was robbery, but he was really there smashing shorty out.
Yeah, right.
I'm saying, I'm saying, yeah, but I'm
he
saying
could have got killed because
I'm saying,
he was in somebody other man's house with another man's wife. You know, that's justified. Like if a guy kills you for that, you know, like his time is going to be less. Than
what I'm
That's
saying,
a fact, though, right?
in the neighborhood, cats come to the neighborhood about all types of stories. Nowadays,
but they say
it's
doing it just for the story, right?
Nowadays, they put the story that you bring to the neighborhood or to a select few.
Right.
You put it on a drill. You put it on a drill record.
Right.
Because you know what I mean. Because that's what validates your movement.
Right.
That's corny.
No, that's a fact.
I mean, that's corny. And then we could debate why it's corny. We could identify why it's corny. We could identify, why it shouldn't be said. Because if my son, he's 5, he's listening to your drill music, he's adapting to you, and now he has to understand that he had to go shoot somebody to be cool.
So what's the alternative?
What's the alternative?
Yeah, for that guy, for his son.
The alternative is to be able to a lot of people got to take responsibility to speak to the youth. Like we just drove by a lot of young people, right? And a lot of those young people don't got nobody to speak to them and talk to them, so they don't know no better. They don't know, but so that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Platforms like this,
okay,
you have the you got to be the one to take responsibility to have that conversation. You ain't got to be a preacher to do it.
Right.
You ain't got to be,
But that's why I wanted. That's why I said, well, what's the alternative? Because without providing an alternative, it could be perceived that it's a preacher. So
I'm just saying. I'm saying like
the alternative is, us immediately talking to the youth.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like somebody's gonna come on here. I feel like somebody's gonna come on here, see a debatable, see the MC War logo, and then prescribe to the build, because this is building, not destroying.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it becomes okay. It provokes you to think. Why is that corny? He said that was corny. Why is that corny?
Right.
And then now when you're around, they talking, and as they talking, you're able to self-evaluate and balance it out. Yeah, that might be kind of corny.
So let's go back through it just again to give an order, because for me it's definitely about because it becomes how. I remember when I seen rest in peace Khalid Muhammad. Yeah, and we're about to wrap up, but I seen him and I was like, oh, how can I help? What can I do? Because that's what it becomes like. You want what now? And now let's go back to what we spoke about. We said different environments. So what's the alternative for you and your child? Your son might be young. Take him into other environments. Take him, into places that he might not, normally go see, in order to have new stimulation hitting his senses. You follow what I'm talking about? Exposing him to new experiences, playing different types of music for him. Maybe open up maybe get him, like, maybe he'll hear something and be like, damn,
right,
I like jazz better than I like drill. I like old school Nas better than I like drill. So we talked about getting out of that environment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What else did we talk about? Getting around the right people. Maybe put them in a camp in another area. That's what helped me. I went to Upward Bound. Shouts out to the Upward Bounds programs or whatever. Me going to Upward Bound, I was in a whole nother city. Right. I met a whole nother group of people. I'm talking about that to this day, some of them very successful that I possibly could tap into if I need them or whatever, right? So these are different things that we got to be thinking about in order to, change the narrative. You follow what I'm saying?
Right. And it gotta happen, man. It gotta happen. Again, one of the things we also talked about was the mindset. If you can't go to the Upper Bound, if you can't go to a different neighborhood, if you're not, in a position to do those other things, it has to start right there inside the house. The mindset.
Watch content, because he might need. Because think about it, your father, you don't know, you might not have that much experience, but you don't want your son yo, it's content out there.
Nah, it's out there. Somebody said, don't be a dummy with a smartphone.
Yeah. Your man, Grant Cardone, he been saying that. He's been saying that forever. You know what I'm talking about? So like, yeah, it's about tapping into those resources. Google that. You know what I'm saying? Google search different things that like, yo, questions. You can ask Google almost anything.
Anything.
So so it's really no excuse, but because we do sometimes have blinders on us, right? You know what I'm saying? And when we get exposed to new information, new ideas, that's why I said, well, what's the alternative? Then it's like, oh, okay, I never thought to use it that way. I never thought to do this. And then hopefully, they'll think to go ahead and check some of this new information out. They'll think to go ahead and take a drive outside of the neighborhood. They'll think that maybe I can't take a drive out the neighborhood, maybe I could Google something like, yo, what does success look like on another continent? What does success look like in Africa? What are some means? What are some principles of success? Maybe you and your son could watch that. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
And that could potentially change, the course of, your story.
I mean, the help you're looking for is at the end. Dr. Yobo said the help you're looking for is right there at the end of your own wrist. That's the hand you're looking for. Right there at the end of your own wrist. So, we got to make it happen, man. It's the time to make it happen. It's the environment to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? These basketball players, they want to make it happen. Right. These football players, they want to make it happen because they came out the same environment. They're just looking for somebody to talk to them and build with them to start changing the community. Because, you might have to move out of your community, but if you have the right people in place, you could probably change your community. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because the bad apples, they're gonna be like, I can't hang around. I can't be around all these good apples. I might have to go find another batch.
That's interesting because Bounty Hunter J spoke about there was a truce in Watts from like 91 all the way to 2004.
Crazy.
You follow what I'm talking about? And that these older guys had set that into position. You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, and he said Watts was an area where everybody could come party, and it was practical, it was safe for the most part.
Right.
So that's to say that it can be done. You know what I'm talking about? And some there had to be some influence to to stimulate that.
We got to be the ones to do it, man.
Right.
We got to be the ones to do it, man. You know what I mean? It's that time, man. Especially the 70s babies. If you was born in 70, if you're a 70s babies, even a late 60s baby, you're irresponsible, bro. You know what I mean? Don't look at that silver and say like, it's time to nah. This is the time that you put out your wisdom, what you learned, in order to try to change the environment. That's messed up right now. It's that time, man. And that's why battle rap is not for dummies. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. It's debatable.
Exactly. All right, y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Okay.
Man.